What is the
Okay.
most unbelievable or crazy case that you've handled in your career?
Well, it's really hard to define the most unbelievable, but one of the most disappointing cases I can't name the cruise line, but I can tell you it was one of the major cruise lines. We represented a young man who had just turned 21 on the night he got intoxicated. There was dozens of minutes of surveillance video of him clearly drunk, inebriated, trying to find his cabin, going up and down the different hallways. And he somehow found his way into what's called I-95, an internal highway, if you will, that allows the crew to get from one end of the ship to the other without having to go through the passenger areas. It's called I-95. He's down there at about 3 a.m, and he's passing other crew members who don't seem to care, are so shocked to see this young man stumbling around down there. And he stumbles his way into what's called a bow thruster, which is what they use to maneuver the ship. Well, luckily the ship was at sea and they weren't using the bow thrusters, but had they done that, he would have most likely been ejected out of the ship, like flushed down a toilet. And he was down there for almost a day. They looked for him for a short period of time, and then they gave up looking for him. And he was still in that bow thruster room overnight. I went to Italy, got on the ship, and actually descended that bow thruster. It's a terrifying little sort of manhole tube. He was down there with broken legs. He had fallen down and broke both legs, so he couldn't get out. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible case. And the cruise line has a very good defense, a very good legal defense. I don't think it's an ethical defense, but it's a legal defense, which is if this hasn't happened before, if no passenger had ever found their way into a bow thruster, they don't have to do anything to prevent it from happening. That's how maritime law basically works. They get a get out of jail free card for the first time that it happens. And they'll always claim, well, we had no idea this was a danger. The federal judge here in Miami agreed with them and dismissed the entire case and said that this cruise line did not have a responsibility because this was the first time, according to them, that this had ever happened. We appealed it. It was affirmed on appeal. It is one of the biggest regretful cases that I've seen in my 32 years of suing cruise lines, that the cruise line was able to get away with this. The laws are definitely written in such a fashion to protect the profits of the cruise lines at the expense of injured passengers. It's very, very hard to successfully hold a cruise line responsible for an injury case. Very difficult.